All right, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Johnson. We're back at it again. Got the guys here right now. Brady, what's up?
Not too much. Been a while. It's been a while since we were able to get on here and do a podcast. So it's going to be interesting to get back into it. A lot has happened since we've been on here. A lot of very important, huge things have happened. So there's really a lot to talk about. But yeah, that's about it.
I normally give this guy, Matt, I give him like the month of March off, but he took December off too. Matt, what's up?
What's up, everybody? Well, a lot of bad shit has happened for us recently for the Buckeyes. We lost to that team up north. We lost to the Missouri Tigers in the Cotton Bowl. Our quarterbacks are horrible. Our special teams, horrible. Offensive line played horrible against Missouri. That's about it. That's pretty much it. What's going on?
Shoot, not much, but yeah, not great. We got a lot of time to discuss about all this stuff. Spring ball coming up, practices, all that stuff. So we'll have you guys covered with that. Also draft things. There's playoff things coming up for the NFL. Obviously, the college football playoffs been going on. Before we get into the thing, like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. Before we talk about this national championship game, Quinshon Judkins has entered the transfer portal. That's a pretty big fish and pretty big waters right there. One of the best running backs in the college football area. How shocked were you guys that he jumped in this portal?
Pretty surprised. Definitely more of a surprising entry than most, especially with Ole Miss returning a lot. A lot of suggestions are indicating that he may just be doing it to get more money from Ole Miss because he's upset with the amount of money that the transfers are getting that are committing there. So we'll see if he actually does officially enter the portal. But, it is definitely a surprising entry and would be a really big get for Alabama.
Okay. Yep. So that we're just putting it out there for Alabama. All right, Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's huge. I think Ole Miss is going to be a top 10 team next year for sure, especially with the improvements they made in the transfer portal and they got the quarterback coming back. So I think Ole Miss is going to be really good. So I was shocked. I think they're going to be a playoff team next year. So I was shocked to see it. But like Brady said, he might just be testing the waters to get some more money. So that it's actually a really smart, business move. So good for Quinshon Judkins. Hopefully he gets all the money he's worth.
Yeah. Now you got to become businessman in college, which is crazy. Don't even have a degree and you got to learn a whole business about it, man. It's a lot now with this portal and NIL and everything. So, we'll see how he goes with that. We talked about it. Hey, if Travion Henderson were to leave, we'd love to have Quinshon Judkins over here at Ohio State if he were to actually go on ahead. I would, I won't go down that rabbit hole. We'll see what happens with that whole thing. But hey, the playoffs happened a couple of days ago. Michigan and Bama, they play each other in the Rose Bowl. Michigan ended up winning 27-20 in overtime to our demise. That sucked to see. But again, we'll keep it, pretty fair and, give the whole analysis on that. But Bama's offense wasn't clicking. Jalen Milroe, we already knew what he was. He wasn't anything spectacular, just a great athlete, not a great quarterback. But Michigan, when it counted most, their offense came up later in the game when they needed it. They made a couple of big plays down the stretch. Alabama folded. There's a couple of times where, in the grand scheme of things, what were your guys' thoughts on like Nick Saban though? Because around national media, talking about this is one of Nick Saban's best coaching jobs that he's ever had throughout a season because of the amount of talent, the lesser amount of talent that he's had. But then again, you're like, he brought this team to the playoff, but they did not look that good. What were your guys' thoughts on this Alabama team? Because something just was missing with them, and everyone could feel it.
I don't think they're. I just don't think it's a very good Bama team. It's probably the worst in 10 years for sure. There's a reason they were underdogs against Michigan. Michigan's better than Alabama this year, and so are a good amount of teams. Georgia's better than Alabama. I understand that game was played. Bama's maybe the sixth best team in college football, which good job, I guess, by Nick Saban to get that team to the playoff, but they're just not impressive this year. Their quarterback is not a good thrower. Their offense just doesn't look inspiring at all. They just aren't really a threat. And it was just a little – I wasn't surprised to see what happened, but I also a little bit surprised with how much they got beat up a little bit in that game.
Yeah. And then on the other side, Matt with Michigan, I know – we obviously have talked about and covered this entire thing that's gone on throughout the entire season, which, we will probably mention here later on the show. But, when Michigan needed a drive to go down and score a touchdown and tie this football game, they got it. They had a huge 4th down conversion with 3 minutes to go over to Blake Corum on a long, a check down pass that went for about 30 yards or so. I will say I did text you guys and say Roman Wilson's a complete idiot. Remember, he had that block in the back on there, which probably just negated a good amount of yards. But Roman Wilson did come up big down the stretch. But what were your thoughts on this? Michigan, especially late in the game against Bama.
Yeah, I mean, Roman Wilson had a hell of a catch that made up for that block in the back on that same drive. He went up and got that ball. It was tipped at the line. So it was a hell of a grab. But to be honest with you, I mean, I was surprised early on about the pass rush for Michigan. I mean, totally dominated the game. I thought if Alabama would have came out in the earlier, the way they did in the second half, they would have won the game. I think they were able to run the ball better in the second half. They kept Michigan more off balance. But obviously that first half was just dominant. It was domination for the most part from Michigan up front in the front 7. But I thought Alabama really adjusted well, and especially in the third quarter, running the ball, running right at them. I thought they had some success doing that. I think if they would have came out and attacked it more and got away from the pass game a little bit, I think Alabama could have won the game. But you give credit where credit's due. I think Michigan played well. There's no doubt about it. They got the luckiest fucking break ever where the JJ threw the dumbest fucking pass in the history of football right at the dude. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And the ball, that one ball not rolling into the end zone.
They also get a lucky fucking bounce when their dumbass returner muffs the punt that would have lost the game. I mean, seriously, it was crazy.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You guys think Michigan's better? I don't. I think if they played 10 times, I think Bama would win more.
Well, here's my thing. Michigan made mistakes against Alabama that if they would have made against Ohio State, we win.
We would have blew them out. We would have blew them
exactly.
out.
That's what I'm saying. We were better than Alabama.
The difference in that is literally, in my opinion, the quarterback. I mean, if they would have had I'm not saying that Jalen Milroe was terrible, but this guy is not, I wouldn't even call him like a mid-level quarterback. He's JJ McCarthy's better than him, and that's saying something. I don't think JJ McCarthy's all that in a bag of chips, but Jalen Milroe, great athlete, but not a great quarterback. But I think if Bama would have had the same level of quarterbacking that they had that that JJ McCarthy and Michigan had over there, I think Bama would have won the football game, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah. When Kyle McCord can double the passing yards,
I think you're probably right.
Quarterback.
I just think
there's more components. But
I was a little shocked by how much they continued to drop Milroe back in the first half.
That was surprising.
I thought it was a little shocking. Once
their O-line
get it out,
their O-line
hit him
could
on
not
the
block
edge, they just kept dropping him back. And it was like, dude. The second half, like I said, in the third quarter, they came out, ran right at him, right at him. There's different things to slow the pass rush down, and it worked. So I think if they play it 10 times, I think Bama wins more. I think Bama's probably better. So
yeah,
congratulations.
It's kind of I would say yeah. I mean, there's a chance with that, but I don't know. It was an interesting game. It was a good game. Don't get me wrong. Nice Rose Bowl game in that regard. It was weird them not getting him out of the pocket and trying to move the pocket. They that whole thing. And you obviously saw the last play of the game. Bad snap. He had to run up the middle, but at the same time, you're kind of surprised that the play wasn't going for a rollout or getting him out on the edge or in the pocket. But, it was a good Rose Bowl to say the least. But then the other
Speaking
game.
Speaking of bad snap, obviously this is probably the right time to bring this up. Alabama center Seth McLaughlin on a visit to Ohio State right now. Yes, it's the truth. Alabama center Seth McLaughlin is currently.
I don't think he's that bad.
At Ohio State.
You just gotta. Yeah.
He can't snap the ball based off that, but that's fixable for one, and for two, there's a chance he plays guard. So before people freak out that are watching, I mean, it's an Alabama starting offensive lineman that's starting.
A lot of those, I don't think you can all blame on him either. I mean, sometimes Milroe wasn't ready for one.
Milroe's just dumb at doing some of the normal things.
There was a couple. I mean, dude, you got a fucking 300-pound dude coming at you, hitting you every play in your face. You're not going to have every single fucking snap right in the fucking chest.
It was a terrible snap.
There was some bad ones. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to be able to catch the fucking ball.
I agree.
Hey, this is the former center talking, man. I'm not even being funny. I mean, you
got to be able to. I mean, I'm sorry. Mitchell would fucking yell at me all the time. I'm sorry, you're 5'6", dude. Fucking adjust, catch the ball a little bit. I mean, shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have some bad ones. I'm not saying it's both. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. You know what I mean? I have some bad ones, but you got to be able to handle shit too.
Yep.
My centers were usually able to snap the ball, unlike the ones before. Matt Rick, now, come on, Matt.
No.
I know it's gonna rattle you up. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's gonna be some off-camera stuff. That's funny. Other game, Sugar Bowl, Texas, Washington. Washington almost just completely collapsed in the last couple minutes of the game and winning. Michael Penix Jr. threw for over 400 yards passing, which seems like he does it almost every other week. That Washington team, that offense is pretty special, to say the least. Texas got their thing rolling later on. The first half was really good, though. 21s apiece. Both teams were moving. Washington really dominated the yards and everything, but Texas was very opportunistic, and that's why, it was a tie game going into halftime. But, final play of the game, Quinn Ewers throws a pass, A.D. Mitchell, incomplete. Great play by the Washington DB on that one. Washington's going to the national championship. Thoughts on this game?
It's a good game. It was fun to watch. I was definitely I picked Washington, but it was obviously a great game. It could have gone either way. I picked Bama in the other game, unfortunately. But Penix played really well. The ball placement was there all game. And I thought it's unfortunate that their running back got hurt at the end of the game because I doubt he plays against Michigan. He's actually a pretty good player. So they're definitely going to have to air it out. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham compared this Washington team to 2021 Ohio State, probably trying to take a shot. But the difference is you don't have Washington's plays this time. So get ready for Rome Odunze and Michael Penix to take some shots. Now, I'm not saying Washington's going to win, but they showed they can at least put up a fight in this natty.
Dude, I don't know about that. I'll tell you, I know it hasn't been consistent, but Washington's defense against Oregon played really fucking good in the Pac-12 championship game. So I just think there's a chance that Washington puts together a somewhat decent game plan and doesn't get gashed as much as what people think. So I think it's gonna be a good game. I do. I think it could go either way. Really, I really do.
Yeah.
Big Ten national championship. These two will play next year as well.
Right.
That's insane to think about. Yeah.
The peak defense of Washington is better than Ohio State's peak defense in 21. That defense was so fucking bad.
Ohio State's defense sucked. It goes both ways. It's not. That's just his comparison, and he's just trying to throw out a shot.
I know. I
know you know. I was just trying to elaborate.
Yeah, Brady brought up
quarterback. We're still better than theirs.
Brady, you brought up a good point, man. October the 5th, Saturday in Seattle next year, Michigan will go there and play the Washington Huskies in a national title rematch.
Right.
This is just crazy.
They also
to think
played
about.
Texas. So if Texas would have won, they played Texas next year too.
Wow. That is wow. We've got some really good matchups coming up next year, but this matchup, a lot of these players will not be playing in next year's matchup. Michael Penix Jr., Rome Odunze,
basically Michigan's whole fucking
Blake Corum, the entire team almost. Maybe JJ McCarthy comes back for a fourth year because he's not pro ready or whatever. I don't know. but
I hope so.
we'll
I just
see.
want
We'll
to
see
beat him
with
one
that.
time. I just want one more shot at him.
So looking at this game, though, Michigan's favored by 4.5 at the moment, according to ESPN Bet. The over under 55.5. Matt, so we did Matt's picks throughout the entire season. We haven't talked about any betting yet. I don't know if you have a pick for this one. We've obviously sat on this game for a couple of days, and there's still a couple more days to go. Would you be leaning toward a Michigan? You don't have to give me your game pick. Actually, this probably would give you your game pick, but go on ahead. What are you thinking though? Would you like the over under 55.5? Over under 55.5. Would you go over under?
I would go over.
Okay. All right. Pretty high there. We'll talk a little bit more about. Oh, wow. And the lowest ticket price, according to Vivid Seats for this game, is $892.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nice in NRG Stadium? But yeah, you're looking at the quarterbacks though. Michael Penix Jr. has been balling this year. Done a really good job. Finished second in the Heisman voting. JJ McCarthy, 22 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Was tabbed by Jim Harbaugh as the greatest quarterback in Michigan history, which is not saying much at all. And people were like, "Oh, there's Tom Brady." Well, remember, Tom Brady wasn't really all that in college. He was a 6th-round pick, 199th overall for a reason. But I mean, is he lying? Is Jim Harbaugh lying?
Yeah,
obviously, take it with a grain of salt. That
I would say Tom Harmon is probably he's like the original Michigan man. Like he wore 98. He was a quarterback, Heisman, national championships, all that shit back in the early, back in the fucking Stone Age. So I would say, but in modern football, yeah, JJ is.
Based off of winning,
was probably yes. Chad Henne was probably the better player in terms of throwing the ball. But he was 0-4 against Ohio State. Never, which just didn't have as much success as what JJ has had. So yeah, I would say JJ is now. Brian Greasy was a solid game manager too. He won a national championship. But I would go with I would say JJ is
All right. Let's go down to the running backs though. Like Brady mentioned, Dylan Johnson is not playing in this game. Most likely. 222 carries, 1,100 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. It's a big loss for Washington, who was an air raid attack, but can also run the football when they have that guy on the field. And
hard.
He's a good player.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. He actually has more rushing yards than Blake Corum does. Take that into account. I know Blake Corum, leader in touchdown runs in the country, 25 touchdowns. He's had a fantastic season. Excited to see what he does in the National Football League. But, the loss of Dylan Johnson, how concerned are we for Washington in this regard?
Pretty concerned. That's their second best offensive weapon behind Odunze. Really sucks for them. I'm not going to lie. I think I would have had a tougher time picking this game if he was playing, for sure. Like a much tougher time picking this game. But doesn't put them out of the game. I mean, they still have the weapons. They still have a really good quarterback. Their offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. It's not the best offensive line in the country. Probably the other one on the other side actually probably is the best offensive line in the country, but still a solid line. And But there's no understating. It's definitely a big loss because he's on par with Blake Corum as a player for sure. Those two are similar guys. I'm sure they'll go similarly in the draft wherever they both go. Yeah,
we'll go to receivers. So Matt, Rome and Roman, opposite sides. Who has a better chance of winning their matchup on Monday? Because Roman Wilson plays a lot in the slot. We'll see, with that. Rome's on the outside. They move him around quite a bit. There's 3 really good Washington receivers, but who has a better chance? You think Rome? Okay.
Dude, the fucking chemistry between him and it's just unbelievable. Penix and him, dude. The way Penix fucking just dots him up, some of the most beautiful throws you'll ever see. Yeah, I think it's him. Also, that's more the vocal point of their offense as well. Roman Wilson is not the main vocal point of the Michigan offense.
Yeah, I'll just say in the passing game, but You're
Right.
not wrong there. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just saying.
not wrong in that regard.
I just think Rome's going to have more opportunities. So I would say no matter what.
All right. Defensively, I think, we would all lean toward this Michigan unit obviously being a way better unit than Washington. But again, Washington has shown some flashes in some of these games, especially their secondary at times. What's the thoughts on Washington's defense overall, Brady?
They come up when it matters. They've got a really good defensive end, Braylon Trice. He's been good this year. He reminds me a lot of JT. He doesn't get a lot of sacks, but he's like this big unit that can disrupt games and change games. And I think they're a solid unit. I don't think they're anything crazy good. They're not a top defense in the country, but they're a solid enough defense. And then obviously Michigan's defense on the other side is definitely the better defense, but it puts the game a lot on Penix for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt, your thoughts, Washington defense?
Oh yeah, I agree with Brady. This team, to a lesser level, reminds me of the 2019 LSU a lot. Just not as talented on offense, but very close. I would say if Penix can really put the team on the back, and they can get a couple timely stops in this game, I think they have as good a chance of anybody. I mean, I really do. They're that good. So we'll see. But I to a lesser extent, it reminds me of 2019 LSU. Hopefully they pull it out, and we don't ever have to hear Michigan say that any shit again.
Plays right into what I was going to ask next. I'm going to start with you, Matt. Washington wins if. Give me something specific. Washington wins if what?
Wow. Oh, Washington wins if they don't turn the ball over.
All right.
0
Brady.
turnovers, they're going to win the game. I think time of possession. Hold on. I think time of possession is going to be huge for Michigan. They're going to try to eat up the clock and keep that ball away from them as much as possible. And this is against the team I think they can do it against, because they're not going to be able to stop them running the ball very well. So every possession for Washington is going to count extraordinarily. You do not want to give any extra possessions to Michigan, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot. If they don't turn the ball over and continue to score and put points up on the board, I think they're going to be right there at the end.
I like it. Brady, Washington wins if what?
Washington wins if they can get up early. I think that's huge in this game, to get on the board and be winning by a touchdown at halftime. If they can be up a touchdown at halftime, I feel very confident that they'll pull it out and win.
All right. Washington wins if Michael Penix extends plays and doesn't take many sacks. But there you go. That all plays into effect. Michigan, Brady, Michigan wins if.
Michigan wins if they can kill clock and run the ball for over 4 yards per carry.
All right. Matt, Michigan wins if what?
If Michigan wins if they average more than 4 yards on first down.
All right. I think we all have the same kind of idea on that. They got to win the line of scrimmage. If they win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, I think they're going to win this game. If they dominate the line of scrimmage.
On offense, just time of possession.
Time of possession, big thing, all that. All right. Picks for this game. We'll start with Matt, work our way over to the left. Matt, who's going to win and what?
I think Michigan's going to win. I think Washington turns it over at some point, and they're not able to get Michigan's run game off the field. So I like Michigan.
All right. Brady.
Yeah. Washington. I've been back and forth. I truly have. That's the first time I've said them, but I just can't imagine a world where Michigan actually won the national championship game, and I don't want to imagine it. So going with Washington, Penix with a big game, and go Washington.
Hey, a lot of crazy things happen in this world, but again, we'll wait till Monday night to see if another thing. It's going to be crazy for one of these fan bases to see if if they win the national championship. No one's ever really won an outright championship between these two teams. If you guys remember, mid-October, ever since Washington beat Oregon the first time, remember I was like, I'm on this Washington hype train. I think they're going to win all of their games in November to remember. They'll win the Pac-12 and go to the playoff. Why would I hop off the train right now? Do I think Michigan's a better team than Washington? Yes, I do. But
I still think Oregon's better. It's crazy.
I don't care.
Man, I'm telling you. I know they
You know-
beat them twice. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I still think Oregon's fucking better.
But you know what? I'm not gonna jump off the Washington train until literally until the wheels fall off. And if the wheels fall off Monday, you know what? I guess I'm gonna crash and burn with Washington. So I'm gonna pick the Huskies to win this one in a shootout.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope you guys are right.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with that. I believe we are. But yeah, hey, it's been a minute since we've all been on here, though. But appreciate you guys coming back on. We'll get get some more off-season coverage going, draft stuff, Ohio State spring game stuff, spring practice, all that stuff. We'll get everything going. A lot of new things coming our way in 2024.
Hopefully we have a bunch of players coming back. Some coaches.
I mean, there's some big news right now about Will Howard on the visit. Looking like potentially QB1 for Ohio State next year.
He's also following people from Alabama now.
What?
He's following people from Alabama on Twitter.
Will Howard?
Yes.
Well, hey, we'll cut it off right here. We'll talk about that on a later episode.
Yeah. I just saw a tweet.
We'll see what. Yeah. You're all good. Yeah, we're all good.
All right, I gotta go.
Anything pops off, we'll do it. See ya. Cool. Good luck, Matt.